Hello and welcome to your Hillsdale Hospital update. I'm JJ Hodshire, President and Chief Executive Officer of Hillsdale Hospital, and I'm joined today. This has been your second time co-hosting, or is this your first?
This is my first time on live with Hillsdale Hospital.
Live, your first, but you've done other events.
I was on
radio and other things. It's exciting to have you here. Why don't you tell for our listeners a little bit about who you are, what your new job is here at Hillsdale Hospital, because historically, I would be seated here with Rachel.
Yes.
And Rachel and I would be talking about all the events at the hospital, but now that's kind of transitioned into you.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell our listeners who you are?
So my name is Kyrsten Newlon. I have been working here at Hillsdale Hospital in the marketing and communications and donor development kind of department. And now I am the communications and donor development manager. So
Yes, you are.
Doing a lot of what Rachel did and some more with donor development.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy to be here.
And it's great to have you here. And so you've been very busy.
Yeah.
First of all, integrating like 3 jobs into one. And that's tough. Donor development's a big piece of what we do now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But also a lot of the communications that you were working on in the background, a lot of the scripts were written by you for our podcast and some other things. You did a remarkable job. And now we get to put you right here in front of our listeners. And it's great to have you here. But we have a lot to talk about today. And I want to get started by something that you did yesterday. You were part of what's called the Great Give. And my understanding is this is across the country, that it's called the Great Give Tuesday. It's not just Hillsdale County. I was getting emails from other people saying, hey, do you want to give to our cause? It's a National Give Day. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about who we partnered with, what that event was, what did we do down there?
Yeah, so it is, it's called Giving Tuesday. That is a national event.
Thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
And here in Hillsdale County, we call it the Great Give.
Okay.
So the Hillsdale County Community Foundation, they kind of bring the nonprofits of Hillsdale together and give them a platform to fundraise on Giving Tuesday. So everyone kind of sends out their own invitations and cultivates their own donors. And then yesterday was the Great Give, and we had a great turnout.
Yeah.
We set a new record for the Great Give, as far as I know. And
in terms of the whole program, or you mean for Hillsdale?
So collectively for Hillsdale, we raised a lot more money than we raised last year.
Great.
For all the nonprofits together.
Good.
We hit that goal, and there's a lot of excitement and cheering. And we were over at the Hub Activity Center, and it's a great group of nonprofits. We really have an incredible nonprofit community here in Hillsdale. So there's a lot of it's just a great environment of fundraising and support. And it was great to have people come down and visit with the nonprofits. We had people driving through. You could drive through and just hand off an
I saw
envelope.
the cones that were out there. That was for the drive-through. Nice.
Yeah, so you can kind of hand.
Would you give them a coffee or anything, or a sandwich?
We do have coffee. I think they have to come inside for that.
All right.
But yeah, we had some Ethan's Donuts there. We had handmade soup and salad.
Oh wow,
there.
Very good.
That was primarily, I think, for the nonprofits.
Right.
But
Just a fun time.
It's there. It was a very fun time,
Good.
and it was very successful. I think for all the nonprofits,
Yeah.
we're very satisfied.
So I think we'd be remiss if we didn't thank the Community Foundation for their hard
Absolutely.
work. Sharon Beischer and her team. Every year that they've been doing this, it seems to grow more and more. The momentum seems to push, just stronger and stronger in our community as they raise the awareness about the needs that are present in our community. And those needs really range from, I know that there were groups there from Kappa, obviously nonprofit as a hospital. We also had other individuals there that shared, giving coats and things of that nature.
Yeah, we had the Humane Society and Helping Hands and Domestic Harmony, and so many nonprofits from Hillsdale who it was really cool because they kind of come together, and you see that we all have different goals and missions because we're seeing different needs in Hillsdale County.
Serving different
we don't
needs.
want to overlap because we want to serve as many needs as we can, but we all have a very similar heart for the people and for the community. So that's what the Great Give is really about.
So we put our solicitation out, and you get people walk in and give you checks. I know we can't release yet what that was, but it was probably our best year.
Yes, definitely.
That you've participated in. And we haven't done this for a very long time. In fact, I think this was our second or third year. Our second year that we've been able to do it. And we'll participate each year, hopefully, in this. Opportunity then is for the community members to come down and support us And we'll talk a little bit about, what we're trying to achieve with our capital campaign in just a minute. But I do want to talk a little bit about the type of things that we do, Kyrsten, and that you've been part of as community engagement. That was part of your job as well. We do a lot for our community, and we give back millions of dollars a year in the local economy. Not only do we give back in the local economy through job creation, and obviously they go out and they purchase items, but also we make contributions ourselves. So we're not only a nonprofit, but we also support a lot of other nonprofits. And I remember our initiative last year, $50,000 toward food pantries and purchasing, fresh fruits and vegetables for our community through Chef's Way and the other things that we were participating in, really to keep our community healthy. That's our focus, right? Some organizations keep you warm. They may have heat vouchers for you, or they may have hat vouchers, whatever it is. We keep them healthy. So in light of that, we engage in several other programs and campaigns. One of those that's coming up is a blood drive. Now, this is the first I've been involved with in 15 years. We've never done one before since I've been here. Now, there could have been years past. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what that is, why that's important this time of year?
Yeah, it's really important. So we are doing a blood drive with the American Red Cross. It is also going to be at the Hub Activity Center at the Hillsdale United Brethren. And it is on December 17th. So coming up pretty quick in a few weeks. And it is from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay.
So if you want to donate blood, that's honestly, if you're a healthy individual, you don't have to be, in perfect shape or anything like that.
I've given, so that's the case. We all know that.
Pretty low bar.
Exactly. That's a very low bar. Exactly.
So that is it's such an easy gift to give.
It is. And
especially for someone who, maybe doesn't feel like they can give much monetarily to come and donate blood, it makes a real difference. So
now, we were told by the American Red Cross that the blood banks have been down for about the last 7 years. The most concerning, of course, is when you have an individual that comes in that needs blood, whether it's from a motor vehicle accident or any other type of incident. You need to make sure that you have a stockpile of blood. And when we think about this season that we get into of car accidents and chainsaw accidents, because that happens, we want to make sure that we have a ready supply. And part of that is doing our part, which is to make sure that our community is safeguarded. But the blood that is shared with us doesn't always come from our community. We actually get it from the blood banks. And so that all goes back into the collective cause. So we have a great opportunity to give back, right? And I understand that Randy Holland is going to be making special cheesecake patties or something for that event, or
I've heard. I think we have Sarah Pulling down there to kind of run things and make sure everything is going well. So
I heard that Randy may be dressed as an elf.
Oh,
you did not? I did hear that.
Okay.
So we will see what that
I thought that was
brings
just a rumor.
us. No, I don't think it's a rumor.
All right.
So it will be very interesting to see. And what is the date again? The 17th?
December 17th.
December 17th.
And you can sign up by going to redcrossblood.org/give. And then if you just type in your zip code, so the Hillsdale zip code, find 49242, then you'll see the Hub Activity Center pop up and you can sign up there.
Good. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for all your hard work with that.
Of course.
So we transition to talk about our employees. This is, an incredible place.
This is an incredible place, and we've been recognized as being an incredible place. Do you want to share?
Well, I would love to. I would love to share that.
Okay.
So I think the first recognition that I was notified of recently was the Detroit News named us top workplace in Michigan.
Yes.
Not just top workplace in healthcare, but top workplace in Michigan. And you had a chance to go. To receive the award. And I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. So a few of us.
Is this your first time going?
This was my first time going down there. So the Detroit Free Press held an event where all of the top workplace recipients kind of just got together. We enjoyed a great dinner together. And we got to hear from some of the main recipients of the awards about what they were doing to make their company a top workplace. We got to hear about internal culture and kind of the cultivation of employee engagement and all of those things. And it was really cool to see a lot of different organizations come together. There was some healthcare representatives, but not very many.
Not very many.
So it was really an honor to be included in that short list of healthcare organizations in the top workplaces. So
Yeah, I think what's important to note for our listeners is that we don't pay for this.
No.
This is actually our staff are surveyed.
Yes.
And that survey asks them core questions they ask of all the employees in their survey for the state of Michigan. And they rank them based on the highest response rate of those who are most satisfied at their workplace.
Yeah.
And we won.
We
and
did.
This is pretty incredible. It's a testimony to the work of our staff during some of the most difficult times in healthcare, especially as we start talking about getting into the flu season and the COVID season. It's very tense. We have 31 job openings.
Yeah.
You know, people are working longer hours. And yet in all of that, to still say that this is a top workplace, and they're saying it as the employees working, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And we're excited.
Is.
We're excited. And so, you know, we had a celebration with our staff.
We did.
We served them, I believe, Chick-fil-A.
We did serve them Chick-fil-A.
Yep. And I do remember, I was thinking that the bun would be soggy. It wasn't.
Why?
Well, because if you get a Chick-fil-A sandwich that's 30 minutes away, one would think, but that was not the case.
It was amazing.
They have some technology with these packaging, and it was great. It was great to celebrate with our staff, to thank them. Now, we've given them shirts before and cups, but this was our way of just saying thank you, a free lunch, just a job well done. And so as we transition that conversation, Hillsdale Hospital has a lot of job opportunities, correct?
We do have a lot of job opportunities and a very wide variety of fields and departments as well. So you don't have to be an RN to apply to work at Hillsdale Hospital. We have a lot of entry-level job openings in mid-level and nursing and all across the board.
We do lots of openings. So if you're interested, how does one
can apply by going to hillsdalehospital.com/careers. You'll see the job openings there. You can read the descriptions. You can contact our HR staff and ask any questions that you have. And
good. Kyrsten, I'm very excited because we have a second award that I want to announce today.
Yes, we do.
And I don't believe it's gone out yet into the press, has it?
No, it should be later this week.
Later this week. So actually our community is going to get like 3 or 4 pieces of new information today before it goes out to the community.
Yeah.
One of those is an award we just received, which is the Chartis Top 100 Hospital. Now they have 3 identifiers for that, right?
Yes.
Quality, outcomes, and so we received ours on outcomes.
Yes, we did.
In other words, the types of procedures that we're engaged in, the patient throughput, patients leave here healthier. And it's amazing that we have achieved this significant recognition in the nation.
Yeah.
Top 100. That's incredible.
They call it the Performance Leadership Award.
Yeah.
So we'll be sending out some more information about that. You might see that in a press release, but it is exciting to see these awards come in and to see that really, we're working hard.
We are working very hard. Our staff is
team.
amazing. Yeah. They're doing a phenomenal job, but these awards just don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
It's years and years of hard work to prove to the regulators, to the assessors, that we are actually achieving some significant benchmarks here in Hillsdale County. And as a rural hospital, we've often been told we can't do it. And we've proven we're doing it, and we're succeeding in many areas. And so this is one that you will hear about in the week ahead as Kyrsten sends out a press release on that. Other things, Kyrsten, I think we have to tell our community is, there's always a concern that whenever there's a problem, a fallout, a delay, the community has a right to be upset, and it's a lot of questioning. But one of the things that we have been challenged with over the last 2 years has been the lack of nationally, the lack of radiologists that are available. And that problem is intensified in rural hospitals because rural hospitals find it very difficult to recruit radiologists because we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have necessarily the location. And so it is a hyper competitive market right now for hospitals like mine to try to find radiology groups. In fact, big systems like Borges lost theirs.
Yeah.
Bigger systems like Oaklawn in Marshall, Michigan, lost theirs. And we too lost our providers because they just quit working. They resigned, they retired, they left the industry. They were at an age, 2 of them, where they said, we're not going to do this anymore. And so they were serving Borges and me, only those 2 hospitals. They withdrew, and we all were left scrambling because it's very difficult to find radiologists. When you're left in that position, and thank God we found some, because a friend of mine, Dr. Hannah from Toledo Orthopedics, reached out to me, and I reached out to him, and we had dialogue. And one day I was talking to him, and I said, "Hey, you don't happen to know any radiologists, do you?" And he goes, "In fact, I do." And so he hooked me up with a radiologist who owns a company. Long story short, in our area lived this man, a radiologist, and he has brought his team here. And we are working still with our radiology assistant, which his name is Scott. And we're working very closely with our new group to make sure that we reduce the time involved in which a patient gets their results back. And it's difficult because when we were notified that we were losing this group, Jamie Caldwell, Jamie Caldwell's a rock star.
She really is.
She spent months, and I'm not being dramatic, months. She vetted 22 companies.
Wow.
And there was only about 2 of them that was even going to work. And both of them were tele, which means no one is physically on site. And that's a concern. They also were high cost associated with what we were paying before. So she said about this. I got the contact. I put her in contact with him. We met with him one day, and within like 3 days, we had an agreement. But I do want to say that with the transition of anything, whether it's us buying Hillsdale Medical Associates, or us buying when we bought Dr. Yared's practice, or us integrating a new service line, or us integrating a new vendor like radiology, there's always going to be some disruption. There's always going to be time delays because they're learning us, we're learning them. They've got to understand our system. They've got to understand what our EMR is, electronic medical record. They've got to know what our computer programs are. We have to know what their function is. We have to know how to get information to them. Long story short is that there's always going to be temporary interim delays in care as it relates to getting reports back, or maybe getting in when you wanted to get in. But the good news is now we're doing remarkably well because we're seeing shorter turnaround times than we did when we first signed on, and we're getting these results out. And I don't know if we'll ever get back to the luxury that we had of same-day reporting. It's very difficult unless it's stat, what we call it. So in other words, it's critical and necessary. But there are a few days that patients have to wait, and we're no different. In fact, we have been told by those individuals who work at other places, other hospitals, who work on staff here as well, have told us that your turnaround times are still better than the leading hospital. So it is something I wanted to share with you, the community. Please bear with us. We did not anticipate that we would lose this radiology company, but they all either retired or left and pulled out of the 2 hospitals they were in, Borges and Hillsdale. And we have this new group who are local. They're doing a great job, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of transition, and it's really just a transfer of data and information and new technologies. Bear with us. We're getting there. We're making significant improvement. We appreciate you staying here at Hillsdale Hospital with Hillsdale Hospital, because obviously you being here at Hillsdale is why we can do what we do, such as give back to the community.
Yeah.
And speaking
absolutely.
of giving back to the community, let's talk a little bit about that. We give back all the time, and I said millions of dollars, but sometimes we have to go to the community and ask as well. And so why don't you give us an update on what's happening with our capital campaign for our listeners?
Yes. So we officially launched our capital campaign just about a year ago at last year's Great Gives. So it's exciting to see this year the progress that we've made. We are almost there.
We are.
We're, I think, in the next few months.
And did you announce? That's a $1 million campaign?
It is a $1 million campaign.
$1
so
million.
For the Great Give, we were specifically trying to fund our workstations on wheels. So that is one of the 6 pieces of capital campaign equipment that we are raising money for. It is it hugely benefits our nursing staff. So it's those mobile workstations that you'll see nurses with. It allows for charting electronically right at the patient bedside, and medication administration, and all the supplies are right there, and it just makes the inpatient care experience so much better, and the nursing experience so much better. So we are almost there for that fund as well. And so
it's exciting.
It's really
so we're
exciting.
almost we're close to announcing some very good news. I would say we're probably a month off or so.
I think
before we can do that, but we really need the community support to get it over the finish line. We're almost there. If you're considering year-end tax contributions that you can make to charity, please, please, please consider Hillsdale Hospital. We are a non-for-profit. We will issue you a tax deductible letter, which you'll take to your accountant. And if you're thinking about making contributions to charities for a Christmas gift, end of year, whatever it is that you do, please consider Hillsdale Hospital as that place, because we will apply it toward this capital campaign, which inside the capital campaign, embedded in that, are a couple other challenges. The college has one going on, the bank has one going on. Like, if we raise so much, then it gets matched.
Right.
So I think it's very important to let our community know that your dollar could even double if we apply it to one of these challenges. So please give some consideration. We've had a lot of great success in the past, I would say 9 months, at raising these funds. We're almost to the finish line. We're almost over it, but it just feels like this is like the heaviest journey right now as we try to make it over that line. So please give. If one is interested in give, how do they do it?
Yeah, if one wants to give, you can go to hillsdalehospital.com/campaign. You'll see the information. If you want to go directly to the donation form, you can go to hillsdalehospital.com/campaign gift, and then you can fill out that form. If you want to call the development office and ask some questions or give over the phone, you can call,
because they can direct it. Right, they can direct those dollars to anything they want. Even if it's not part of the capital campaign, they can say, we want a new chair for the skilled nursing facility, or we want this. So if they want to call, who do they call?
They can call 517-964-0385. So me, and I will guide them through the process, and we can talk about the options. And it's really a unique giving experience because you directly see the impact.
Oh, absolutely. And it's maybe themselves who have used Hillsdale Hospital services that are impacted from this. Maybe it's a family member who's been brought in. And so your contributions stay local right here in Hillsdale County and support our patients in this hospital and your neighbors. So please give some consideration as you are thinking about this year, who are we going to make that tax contribution to, a deductible contribution to this year. Lastly, we have before us a neat little book.
Yes, we do.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what this is?
The 2024 annual report. We're very excited for this beautiful report. It contains reports on our 5 pillars. So people, service, quality, finance, and growth. And it kind of takes you through some of the main successes, the main opportunities, some of the challenges, and what we've been doing this year in the last, this report's on the fiscal year, which ended in June 30th, 2024. So it has a lot of really interesting tidbits in here. You get to see some photos of our staff. And if you want to look through this and read through this, you can find it online. It's at hillsdalehospital.com/report, and you'll see the last several years of reports. You can go back and see how we've grown and how we've really transformed through the years. And there's some really good information.
Neat stories, and phenomenal opportunity to serve our community each and every day. And what we do is we try to tell the story in one annual summary. So please go online to get a copy of that. I will be presenting this at various groups and clubs throughout the next several months. And it's a very exciting time to talk about how your hospital, Hillsdale Hospital, is leading the nation as a healthcare system. And we're advancing rural health each and every day, whether it's through our podcast or just the advocacy work that we do at the local, state, or national level. We're making a difference every day in the life of rural America as it relates to healthcare. And it's exciting. So this report really highlights some of that work that we've done. Also, as we look at 2024, I think what I'm going to propose, Kyrsten, is that we do a State of the Hospital address to talk a little bit about some of the significant accomplishments we've made in 2024, and then as we look to 25. So I think next week's may really focus on just a year-end review, as well as what does the future look like, because we have some exciting new services. I don't know if I want to tell them right away, but there are some that are going to be pretty incredible. And do you think we should give them a teaser?
Maybe a little hint.
All right.
Maybe a hint.
Why don't you do that then?
Okay. Well, I think one of the service lines that might be coming up has something to do with feet.
Yeah, it does.
Right?
Absolutely. We don't want people to feel defeated, but I know that was a bad joke. But yes, I am bringing podiatry to Hillsdale. Dr. Bidney is retiring, and she is done. And she has served this community for decades. I would be remiss, again, if I did not thank Dr. Bidney for her countless work in our hospital and in our community, providing excellent care to our patients and families. She's been in our operating room. She's been in our wound care clinic. She's been in her own private practice. She's dedicated her life to Hillsdale. She could have gone anywhere in the United States and probably had a bigger practice even in a metro area, but she chose to stay rural. She chose to make this her home, and she has done a remarkable job. She's built relationships with patients in the hospital and many of our friends here. We're going to miss her. You know, she's leaving, and she's become a very good friend of mine. She is a woman of remarkable character, and we're going to miss her. And it's going to be very hard to fill that void because podiatry is very difficult, but someone who's got a passion for rural podiatry is even more rare. But I am pleased to announce that I will be bringing a podiatrist to Hillsdale County, employed by Hillsdale Hospital. We'll be announcing that in the months ahead. That individual will be doing surgeries here at Hillsdale. We'll have office hours. We'll also be walking the clinic upstairs at our wound care, making sure they provide services there. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about some other service lines, which we'll talk about next week. But there's some exciting things that are happening, Kyrsten. And we are, when we set out to be a full continuum hospital outside of brain surgery and heart surgery, we're going to be doing it all from neck, obviously to toe, whether it's neurosurgery with Dr. Loganathan, vascular surgery with Dr. Alam, or now podiatry with the new podiatrist that's coming in. We have it covered. All stages of life too, from obstetrics to skilled nursing facility. They take their first breath and sometimes they take their last breath. We see them between that entire lifespan at this hospital. Women's health, infusion center. We're going to be talking about that in the future. Significant changes happening there that are exciting. If you need PET scan, again, we offer those services to keep our patients right here in Hillsdale. So I'm excited, as you can tell. Next week, let's talk a little bit about our state of the hospital and then what does the future look like? And so you will not want to miss next week's episode as we talk about all the great things that we've engaged in, good results financially, good results organizationally, and then we'll talk a little bit about what does that future look like with new services and providers. So I am excited about that. So Kyrsten, it has been great to have you. Why don't you close us out for today?
Love to. Yeah. So thank you so much to our community for your continued support. If you would like to connect with us more, you can visit hillsdalehospital.com/live. There are opportunities on that page to nominate a hospital staff member for a patient care award. We love celebrating our team.
We do.
You can support our capital fundraising campaign, as we previously spoke about. You can volunteer for Hillsdale Hospital.
We do have a lot of volunteer
We have a lot of volunteer opportunities.
So, some people think that I have to be retired to volunteer. Not at all.
Certainly not.
You can volunteer at any age, and you can come to Hillsdale Hospital. You can work the gift shop if you want and become a member of the auxiliary. You can just volunteer to volunteer. Plenty of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, there are a lot of areas that need some support. So there are clerical duties. There's some interaction with patients, so you can have no interaction with patients. There's a lot of variety, and each volunteer experience is really kind of custom made for the volunteer. So if you want to volunteer or just learn more about volunteering, you could go to hillsdalehospital.com/volunteer. Yeah. And we are also pretty much in all forms of media. So if you want to hear us on the radio, catch us on WCSR on Fridays and Buzz Online on Saturdays. And you can listen to our podcast, Rural Health Rising, at ruralhealthrising.com or wherever you get your podcast. And until we see you again.
Next week, right?
Next week.
Or even before, maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. Maybe. All right.
We'll see.
We would say what to our listeners?
We will say, stay safe, stay healthy, stay Hillsdale strong, and choose Hillsdale first.
That's right. Thank you. It's been great to have you here, Kyrsten, and we look forward to seeing you next week.